Welcome back to part 2 of Charlotte's Web, chapter 15. The Crickets. The crickets sang in grasses. They sang the song of summer's ending, a sad, monotonous song. Summer is over and gone, they sang. Over and gone, over and gone. Summer is dying, dying. So the crickets symbolize the end of summer, right? Not that summer is dying, but that summer is ending. The crickets felt it was their duty to warn everybody that summertime cannot last forever. Even on the most beautiful days in the whole year, the days when summer is changing into fall, the crickets spread the rumors of sadness and change. So there's another one. They symbolize the change, right? Change. Everybody heard the song of the crickets. Avery and Fern Arable heard it as they walked the dusty road. They knew that school would soon begin again. So the cricket singing is another symbol of what is starting? School, right? The young geese heard it and knew that they would never be little goslings again. Charlotte heard it and knew that she wouldn't have much time left. Mrs. Zuckerman, at work in the kitchen, heard the crickets, and a sadness came over her, too. Another summer gone, she sighed. Lurvy, at work building a crate for Wilbur, heard the song and knew it was time to dig potatoes. Well, that's his sign, right? Summer is over and gone, repeated the crickets. How many nights till frost? Sang the crickets. Goodbye, summer, goodbye, goodbye. The sheep heard the crickets, and they felt so uneasy they broke a hole in the pasture fence and wandered up into the field across the road. The gander discovered the hole and led his family through, and they walked to the orchard and ate the apples that were lying on the ground. A little maple tree in the swamp heard the cricket song and turned bright red with anxiety, so its leaves turned red. Wilbur was now the center of attraction on the farm. Good food and regular hours were showing results. Wilbur was a pig any man would be proud of. One day more than 100 people came to stand at his yard and admire him. Charlotte had written the word radiant, and Wilbur really looked radiant as he stood in the golden sunlight. Ever since the spider had befriended him, he had done his best to live up to his reputation, meaning he wants to make sure that he is terrific, some pig, that he's radiant, right? When Charlotte's Web said some pig, Wilbur had tried hard to look like some pig. When Charlotte's Web said terrific, Wilbur had tried to look terrific. And now that the web said radiant, he did everything possible to make himself glow. It is not easy to look radiant, but Wilbur threw himself into it with a will. So what is he going to do? That's one of our questions, right? To look radiant. He would turn his head slightly and blink his long eyelashes. There we go. Then he would breathe deeply. And when his audience grew bored, he would spring into the air and do a backflip with a half twist. At this, the crowd would yell and cheer. How's that for a pig? Mr. Zuckerman would ask, well pleased with himself. That pig is radiant. Some of Wilbur's friends in the barn worried for fear all this attention would go to his head and make him stuck up. But it never did. Wilbur was modest. Fame did not spoil him. He still worried some about the future, as he could hardly believe that a mere spider would be able to save his life. Sometimes at night he would have a bad dream. He would dream that men were coming to get him with knives and guns, but that was only a dream. In the daytime, Wilbur usually felt happy and confident. No pig ever had truer friends, and he realized that friendship is one of the most satisfying things in the world. I agree. Even the song of the crickets did not make Wilbur too sad. He knew it was almost time for the county fair, and he was looking forward to the trip. If he could distinguish himself at the fair, and maybe win some prize money, he was sure Zuckerman would let him live. Charlotte had worries of her own, but she kept quiet about them. One morning Wilbur asked her about the fair. You're going with me, aren't you, Charlotte? He said. Well, I don't know, replied Charlotte. The fair comes at a bad time for me. I shall find it inconvenient to leave home, even for a few days. Why? Asked Wilbur. Oh, I just don't feel like leaving my web. Too much going on around here. Please come with me, begged Wilbur. I need you, Charlotte. I can't stand going to the fair without you. You've just got to come. No, said Charlotte. I believe I'd better stay home and see if I can't get some work done. What kind of work? Asked Wilbur. Egg laying. It's time I made an egg sack and filled it with eggs. I don't know. I didn't know you could lay eggs, said Wilbur in amazement. Oh, sure, said the spider. I'm versatile. What does versatile mean? Full of eggs? Asked Wilbur. Certainly not, said Charlotte. Versatile means I can turn with ease from one thing to another. It means I don't have to limit my activities to spinning and trapping and stunts like that. Versatile just means you're capable of doing all kinds of different things. Why don't you come with me to the fairgrounds and lay your eggs there? Pleaded Wilbur. It would be wonderful fun. Charlotte gave her web a twitch and moodily watched it sway. I'm afraid not, she said. You don't know the first thing about egg laying, Wilbur. I can't arrange my family duties to suit the management of the county fair. When I get ready to lay eggs, I have to lay eggs, fair or no fair. However, I don't want you to worry about it. You might lose weight. We'll leave it this way. I'll come to the fair if I possibly can. Oh, good, said Wilbur. I knew you wouldn't forsake me just when I need you most. All that day, Wilbur stayed inside, taking life easy in the straw. Charlotte rested and ate a grasshopper. She knew that she couldn't help Wilbur much longer. In a few days, she would have to drop everything and build the beautiful little eggs, the little sack that would hold her eggs. And that is the end of chapter 15. Let's move on to our questions. Ugh, so Charlotte's got to lay her eggs. Now, we saw all kinds of symbols for the crickets, right? We know that the first symbol was that summer is ending. And the crickets symbolized a bunch of different things to different people, right? It meant something different for Lurvy. It meant something different for Fern and Avery. It meant something different for the animals, to even Mrs. Zuckerman, who heard the song of the crickets and felt like it symbolized something different for them. Now, if we go back to the chapter, we see that not only is it summer is ending, but for Fern and Avery, it means school is starting, right? School is starting. It also means fall is coming, so you could write that. It meant for Lurvy, he had to dig potatoes. For Charlotte, it meant that she didn't have much time left, right? Um, so it meant different things to different people. So I think right here, I will put fall is coming. So their chirping meant something different. Of course, you can add something different here if you like from the chapter. What did Wilbur do to make himself look so radiant? Do you remember? Yeah, right. So here he had to turn his head slightly and blink his long lashes. Then he would breathe deeply. And when the audience grew bored, he would spring into the air and do a black backflip with a half twist. So quite a few things. And we're going to start with he had to, he blinked his eyes. Oh, he blinked his long lashes, right? His long piggy eyelashes. He blinked his long lashes. Breathe deeply. And then he would jump in the air. And do a half twist. I'm going to move this down. So in case if you need to pause the video, you can do it right now and copy down those two answers. All right, let's move on to number 3 and 4. Charlotte said that she may not be able to go to the fair because she will be laying eggs, right? Can you think of something she could do to allow her to go? So, what do you think of Wilbur's idea about egg laying at the fair? I thought that was kind of a good idea, right? So, you could write, she could lay her eggs at the fair. What else could she do? I was thinking the same thing. If you said she could lay her eggs at the farm before going to the fair. Any other ways she could make herself go without having to worry about what she has to do? Maybe she could lay her eggs at the fair and bring her egg sack home. So you choose which one you like the best. I think I'm going to go with my second choice, which was she could lay her eggs at the farm before going to the fair. So maybe she could do that. But of course, boys and girls, you choose which reason you like the most. Remember to pause the video if you need to catch up and write down your answer. All right, and all we have left to do is just this back here. Well, we already did it. We filled it with the words some pig, terrific and radiant. And so those are the adjectives she's already described him right now. If you can think of another adjective to describe Wilbur, then you might want to add it here. One year I had someone add a good friend. He's a good friend. And that's how Charlotte described Wilbur too, that he was a good friend. You can also add that too. And if you heard Lily, she's doing her math, her math work with her class Zoom meeting. Okay. All right, boys and girls, that's it for today. Remember to color your Wilbur here, and I will see you again for chapter 16 of Charlotte's Web. Let's see what happens with that egg sack.